Hello there guys, and welcome back to a brand new LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga video. In today's video I wanted to discuss something about the game that I personally think is lacking. Now this isn't really a complaint as the game has a huge amount of content as it is, so I really could not ask for any more. However, if we were to have had more at launch, then this is definitely something that I would have liked to have seen in the game, and that is unlockable and purchasable ground vehicles. Ground vehicles, or mostly speeders, are in the game to the extent where you can find the odd one dotted around the open world environment, jump in and ride around, and that's great, but if they added ground vehicles in the same way that starships are in the game, then we'd have even more vehicles to find and even more to do in the game, though like I said before, there's already a hell of a lot as it is. Now as for what ground vehicles could be added, you have the likes of all of the walkers from the Republic, Empire and First Order, the speeders and hover tanks of the Separatist Alliance, and so much more. The game currently has 69 standard vehicles, all of which are a mixture between starfighters and big starships like the Tantive 4 and the AA-9 Coruscant Cruiser, but if you add ground vehicles into mix then you easily have over 100. Now it's all well and good me saying that I'd love to have more ground vehicles in the game to actually ride around in, but I can't help but think that the open world environments aren't really built with vehicles in mind whatsoever. They probably took into account speeders a little bit, but I can't imagine it was a particularly big thing when designing all of the planets, so yes, it would be great to have walkers in the game to find and unlock, however they just wouldn't really work too well due to the current level design with most planets. With that said, some of the open worlds like Theed are perfect for them, and they even have AT-ATs that you can ride around in anyway, so I think ground vehicles would be perfect here, but then you have places like the Judland Wastes, which is less good beyond the area of Toshi Station and Lars Homestead. The more I do think about it and the more I talk about it now, the more I can understand the decision not to have ground vehicles as a big part in the game. Firstly, they most likely wouldn't be available in every location, and secondly, I don't think they'd really serve any purpose as the game currently is. Like I said a moment ago, Theed is the perfect location for walkers and speeders to be unlockable and playable, but Lake Pyonga and by extension Otto Gunga on the other hand wouldn't really work very well at all. As for their purpose, there's currently nothing in the game for ground vehicles to do in the open world beyond races, so if they were to have walkers and speeders that you could call in, then I feel like you'd need to actually have quite a few things for them to do like vehicle missions and other challenges, which again a lot of locations aren't really suited for, which means that if they were to have vehicles in the game, the environments would have to have changed completely compared to what they are now, and obviously that would absolutely not happen. So to summarise, I personally would have loved to have seen ground vehicles from across the 9 films in the Skywalker Saga and beyond as playable and unlockable ships that you could call in at launch. However, if the game essentially stayed the way it is now but added ground vehicles as well, it would be a pretty rough experience as a result of the level design in some places, and also just other locations simply not being suitable at all, so it almost doesn't feel like it would be worth doing. If they were added though, then the worlds would likely have to have changed quite dramatically to incorporate their mobility, as well as adding new features for them to be able to actually do things and to further serve a purpose, which like I said, probably wasn't really worth doing. Anyway guys, that is it from me today. As I said before, this isn't so much of a complaint I have for the game, it's more of a what if kind of discussion where I try to look at the benefits and drawbacks of adding more ground vehicles, so I hope you enjoyed, and if you did then be sure to leave a like on the video. Thank you all very much for watching though, and may the force be with you always.